Radio IMWS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the politics program on Radio IMWS. Now then, before we get the show going, we're going to get through a few announcements, a few very important announcements we do need to make as well. Now then, we have here at the Al Hikmah Center a public speaking competition. Yes, if you feel that you can address the public from the podium and you can interest and keep people's interest as well, then this is a competition for you. And it's not just a competition to win a trophy. No, first prize of £100. The second prize, I believe, is £50, and third prize of £25. Sorry, £75, and third prize of £50. Now that's open to it's a boys only competition. This one, I'm afraid. We will have the girls one later, hopefully, inshallah. Group A, age 14 to 18 years, and Group B, age 19 to 25. So if you could talk for Batley, then this is a competition for you. It's going to take place Friday, 11th December 2015, 7:30 p.m. here at the Al Hikmah Center. You need to get your entries in by the 30th of November. And the way to do that is to give our office a call on 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk. We've also got and taking place here at the Al Hikmah Center on Saturday, the 5th of December 2015, from 6:30 p.m. onwards, the IMWS charity dinner. Now, this is a ticket-only event. It's in aid of the Mayor's charity appeal, which is Diabetes UK this year, and it is open to all. So if you go onto our Facebook page or our website, or have a look in tomorrow's Pegam, as soon as it hits the street, you'll be able to find all the contact details, or you can give the office a call on 01924 500 555, and they will be able to direct you correct to the right person for the tickets, inshallah. Also, 23rd, we've got a few announcements today. 23rd annual Jalsa and Hifz completion is going to be taking place. That's the Madrasa Islamia, and it's going to be taking place on Saturday, the 7th of November. That's this Saturday after Maghrib Salat at Madina Masjid for men, and Saturday, 7th November from 9:30 a.m. at Madrasa Islamia for the ladies. Special guest Ustad Hazrat Hadith Ustadul Hadith Hazrat Maulana Bilal Bawa Sahib Damat Barakatum from Bari. So that's the Jalsa that's going to be taking place for men and for ladies at the Madrasa Islamia and Madina Masjid this coming Saturday, and inshallah that'll be on the notice board. Another announcement we need to make very quickly as well. Also, our friends from One Nation are over in Greece at the moment. I do believe my co-host Ayub Bhai will be able to enlighten us a little bit more on that. Ayub Bhai?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Not too sure how much detail I'll be able to share, but I had a call from Mrs. Farida Bai Patel today, just briefing me about the work that's been done by her son Arshad and his partner Maqsood, who are actually in Greece at the moment, helping with the Syrian refugee catastrophe. And from what I've gathered, they're actually experiencing a lot of difficulties because the task is enormous. There are all sorts of issues and problems that they're facing to the extent that they're having to actually perform janazah, namaz and ghusl by themselves. And what they're asking for is more volunteers. So if any of our listeners are interested in volunteering, please call into the One Nation shop at Mount Pleasant and find out as much as you can and offer your support and help. It will be very much appreciated by the brothers over in Greece.
Okay, subhanallah. And tonight, and mashallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to help as much as we possibly can as well. And tonight we are also going to be streaming live on YouTube. So if you want to watch us, I have not done my hair this evening, but don't worry about that. If you do want to watch us, go over to YouTube and to our channel, which is Radio at IMWS. Right, Ayub Bhai, I believe this is the point at which I usually hand it over to you.
Well, I really don't know what to say, but this is the politics show. This is the second of the number of shows that we have planned. So welcome, listeners, to the politics show. These broadcasts are mainly planned to raise awareness, political awareness, among our listeners and provide opportunities for them to air their views, make suggestions, and pose questions to our guests. So we hope to be inviting as many people as possible from a wide range of visitors, from local politicians, including councillors, local MPs, and local activists. The first program we had a couple of weeks ago, we had Aziz Daji and Hassan Badat with us. And it was quite an interesting program, really, to set the scene.
Yeah.
Really, we're not here to support or promote any particular political party or any individual. But as always, we will challenge and hold to account our representatives, be it in the council or the parliament. So having said that, we would really welcome our listeners' views, their questions. So like Mohammed said, please tune in to YouTube or Radio IMWS online.
Yep.
And get your questions in.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'll let Mohammed introduce our guest for tonight.
I will do that. And she's anxiously waiting, I think, right now. I will do that very shortly. Yes, you can listen to, as you mentioned, YouTube and also www.imws.org.uk. For your text and WhatsApps, the number is 07460809218. Studio hotline 01924505629. Okay, now our guest this evening in the Radio IMWS studios won her first council election earlier this year and represents not one but two political parties. To find out more, I'd like to officially welcome onto the politics program Batley West Councillor Marielle O'Neill. Marielle, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Hello everybody, and thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here tonight.
Nervous?
Yes, I'm nervous. Yes.
Don't worry, they've all been nervous in that chair. First of all, Marielle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 27 and I got elected in May as the Labour and Cooperative Party candidate for Batley West. The interesting thing is that I actually took over from my dad, Peter O'Neill, who I'm sure everybody knows. My dad retired and I was selected as a Labour candidate and then also elected in May to replace him. So I'm really honoured to firstly be selected to represent my hometown, but also it's a double honour because I'm also carrying on my dad's legacy.
Yeah. So it's politics in the family.
Yes, the politics in the blood.
There must have been some interesting dinners.
Yes. Yeah, basically we just talk about politics all the time.
Put the world to right.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a question here that's coming already,
Okay.
which is, how did you get into politics?
Politics. I think sometimes that you don't choose politics, politics chooses you. I think when I was growing up, I got more into politics when I was a teenager because that was around the time of the Iraq War. And that just seemed like such a great injustice for me and just obviously so wrong that it kind of motivated me to get involved in like anti-war demonstrations. I went on the one in London and then I kind of got more involved in the Labour Party because that seemed to be the party that best reflected my interests in social justice and equality. So I think it's basically finding an interest that you're passionate about and then kind of doing some research into that. And then as much as I think you need to be passionate about a cause, you really need to get involved with a political party because that's really the channel that you can get things done, because as an individual it's very difficult to really achieve anything or make any change. But if you can join a political party, you can get involved with other people with like-minded interests and then kind of make more of the substantive change, really.
So why do you choose the Labour Party, Marielle?
The Labour Party. Well, I'm from Yorkshire, so I'd have to say anybody from Yorkshire should really join the Labour Party. But basically, because I'm working class and I'm from Batley, and I think the Labour Party definitely traditionally has more represented the views of the working class. And also as a young woman, I feel that the Labour Party is much more about the party of social justice. And again, when I was growing up was when Tony Blair was in power, and as he said, it's education, education, education. And I really liked the emphasis that Labour was putting on under Blair on education and people going to university. So it was much more, Labour was seen definitely then about 10 years ago as like this party of social mobility.
Now, since Jeremy Corbyn's come in, I think there's a big contrast between what Tony Blair stood for and what Jeremy stands for. I mean, how do you see the difference?
Well, I think basically we're in vastly different times. I know when I was growing up, it seemed that the world was our oyster, that you go to university and you get a wonderful job with your dreams. Whereas now, even when I graduated, I found it difficult to get a job. So we're living in a totally different world now to what it was then. Like under Blair, it was like the boom years. So it was obviously we had more money to spend on social welfare projects and things. Whereas now it's much more different times. But obviously politically the difference is that Blair was centre right and Corbyn is a traditional Labourite, very left wing, and I think people obviously are wanting to go back to traditional Labour values. So
their ideas of social justice is very contrasting, isn't it? Very different.
Yes.
I mean, where do you stand in that?
I think I'd be somewhere in the middle. Because I'm more pragmatic. I like to get things done. So that's kind of, again, why I did join a political party. Because I don't agree with everything Labour does, but I agree with 90% of what Labour does. So we have to, and I'd rather make some change, however small that would be.
So what's your understanding of social justice,
Social justice. For me, it's all about equality and fairness. If I could sum up social justice in one word, it would be fairness. It's about everybody having everybody having equal rights, everybody being equal under the law, and obviously you've got different types of social justice. You've got economic equality.
Okay. Now, if you just tuned in, you are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Centre in Batley, West Yorkshire. Remember, we are on YouTube this evening. You can go on to the Radio IMWS channel and watch us there. And in our studio, we do have Batley West Councillor Marielle O'Neill. Now, Marielle, I wanted to ask you about the Co-op Party.
The Co-op Party.
You've decided, because I'm aware that there's a few councillors who are Labour and Co-op, but you've actually made a conscious decision to put that onto your council as a councillor for the Co-op Party. First of all, why join the Co-op Party as well as Labour? And secondly, why actually acknowledge that you're a Co-op councillor as well?
Well, basically, I wanted to acknowledge it because I'm proud of it and I want to raise publicity for it. And the Cooperative Party is a sister party of the Labour Party, but the Cooperative Party is more about an economic viewpoint, really. It's more about, rather than being totally capitalist, it's more about finding mutual or community ways of running businesses. So running businesses so that the workers have a share of the profits. So John Lewis is a cooperative. Ocean Spray, who do the cranberry juice, are a cooperative. So there's quite a lot of companies who are actually international corporations but are cooperatives.
How is the Cooperative Party organised in Cllr?
It's organised the same way that political parties are. It's just on a smaller scale, and you don't have to be a member of the Labour Party to be a member of the Cooperative Party, or vice versa.
So who are the leading people in the Cooperative Party in Cllr?
It's hard to say, really, because it's not so much about a figurehead as such. It's we're not into hierarchy or anything like that. There's a couple called the Hellywells who are very committed, an older couple. There's me and my mum and dad. Like you said, a few of the councillors are actually members. Eric Thirth is a member. Shabir Panda's a member. Yeah. So there are a couple of councillors on there. Yeah. But it's more about like kind of in a way non-partisan issues also, because the Cooperative Party is very much into fair trade. So we look at that a lot as well. Right.
Okay.
Well, carry on.
All right. Okay. Now then, remember you can send your texts and WhatsApps in to 0746 0809 I know we've got a text message. We want to get a few questions out of the way before we get to there. Marielle, you're 27.
Yes.
That's relatively young for politics. I wish I was in politics at 27, but never mind. But young people, there's always this stigma that's attached with young people and politics, and young people struggling to engage with politics. Now, during the general election, of course, you won by I think a margin of just under 3,000 votes from the Conservative candidate in Batley West. But the number of voters coming to the polling booth increased because it was a general election. Local elections, how can young people get interested in local politics?
It's a contradiction, because young people are interested in politics. If you go on Facebook, and if I posted something political on Facebook, I know that lots of people will be commenting on it. So young people are interested in politics. They're just not interested in the traditional means of politics. The traditional, going to vote or attending council meetings and or doing petitions or to the council. But there is that interest there. I guess we need to look at issues that young people are passionate about and try and engage with them on that issue. We also need to go more into schools and actually explain at different ages, at both the young primary school age, which me and my dad did before the election at St Mary's, and also going at high schools just before people will be reaching the age to vote, and explain how important it is for their lives, because young people are actually more impacted by politics than anybody else. Like tuition fees, the way schools are changing, like 3 schools and things, it's really going to impact them much more than it would impact an older person. So it's really going to them.
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's enough being done to educate young people about politics? Particularly, like as you mentioned there, in high school, it's one thing for a councillor, for example, to come in, or someone involved, or MP come in and talk about politics. But what about on the curriculum? Do you think it should be on the curriculum?
I think it should be on the curriculum in an actual. I think we should have a really strong citizenship course, because I think a lot of people don't really realise the importance it has in their daily lives, and also the struggle that people, women and working class people, went to get the vote. And I think if we really went into schools and explained about the impact of politics in a dynamic and way that young people could understand, it would kind of hit them more, really.
Right. Okay. Now then, we're just going to go into a very short break, but we'll be back with you. And we have got Councillor Marielle O'Neill in the studio with us. We've been talking more generally about yourself and your and politics so far, and we'll be coming on to talking more about Batley West and about Kirklees as a whole as well, just after the break. So stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS. Join the discussion on Radio IMWS every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday from 8 p.m. Topics include Islam, current affairs, health, legal, education and a weekly program delivered in Gujarati. You can join in by calling the studio on 01924 505 629 or send us a text or WhatsApp on 07460 809 218. For program schedules, visit www.imws.org.uk. If you would like to volunteer and be part of the Radio IMWS team, email radio@imws.org.uk or call 01924 500 555. Are you running a business from home and need to move into an office, a place where you can confidently meet your clients, or maybe looking to relocate? The Al Hikmah Centre provides office space in a safe, secure and scenic location. With easy access, convenient location, free car parking and free Wi-Fi, hiring an office at the Al Hikmah Centre can allow your business to grow. For more details and special offers, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk. Hold your meetings and conferences at a secluded scenic location just 15 minutes from the M1 and M62. Whether small, medium or large, the Al Hikmah Centre in Batley, West Yorkshire has the facilities to accommodate, including free parking and all the equipment to make your seminar successful. So whether your need is for a handful or over 1,000 attendees, we have all you need. For details and charges, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk. www.imws.org.uk. You can find out more about our conference facilities by visiting www.imws.org.uk. Radio IMWS.
Welcome back to Radio IMWS, the politics program, and with myself and Ayuba Bismillah, and in the studio we do have Councillor Marielle O'Neill from Batley West. Now, Marielle, we did get some questions in. Let me just. Okay, Salams, what are your future aspirations, your short and long term?
Short, long term. Well, at the minute, I'm just focusing on learning the ropes in Batley West about being a councillor. I'm hopefully I'll progress and get more responsibility in the council, either be a chair of the committee or maybe even the cabinet.
Tell us a little bit about Batley West.
Batley West.
Do you actually live in Batley West? And what are the challenges facing people in Batley West?
Well, I actually live in Birstall now, so I don't live in Batley
West.
West.
A foreigner.
I live like 100 yards or so away from Batley West, but my parents live in Batley West. Challenges facing Batley West. Well, the number one thing that people contact me about is housing. We've got thousands of people on the waiting list for council houses in Cllr. That's a really big issue. At the minute, we're getting a lot of people who are concerned about the cuts to the tax credits, because there's actually 60% of children in working families in Batley and Spen are actually receiving tax credits. So that's one of like the highest proportions in the country. And a lot of people are concerned about that, because I know in the newspapers it's been reported that families will be on average over £1,000 worse off about that. So a lot of people are concerned about that, and other changes to the welfare system. And then you have people contacting about immigration or just about personal matters or other issues relating to the housing, like that they need improvements doing by the council.
So what would you like to see happening in Batley West in terms of your priorities?
What would I like to see happening? I'd just like to see like an even stronger community. We've got a really strong community spirit at the minute in Batley, and that I really want to see that increase, particularly as the council now is changing, because we've had 69 million cut from our budget. So a lot of the services that the council did, like grass cutting, a lot of the services that we kind of took for granted, community groups are having to do. And I'm really happy that in Batley people have stepped up to the mark, and we've had a lot of friends groups started, such as Friends of Batley Library, Friends of Wilton Park, which I'm a member of. So we really need to see even more volunteers taking part in these community groups to help improve Batley. And also I'd like to see, I know people are concerned about the library, but we need to see more people use the library. I hate to say it, but it's a use it or lose it type of mentality now. So we need to get people in our town centre more, in the library, in the parks.
Right.
I mean, how would we go about doing that? Because I was at the last Friends of Batley Library meeting, and I was quite impressed by the volunteers that turned up, and the enormous amount of commitment that they're putting into saving the library. I mean, what's your idea about Batley Library? How can it be saved?
I think the idea that the cabinet is saying that we need volunteers to kind of come in and help run it with the staff, and help do events and lead groups such as like dementia groups or mum and toddler groups at the library. So we really need to stress to people the importance that I said, you use it or you lose it. So we need to explain to people that the council just hasn't got the money anymore. So we really need people to come in and take part. And also we need to stress that you don't actually have to do it doesn't have to be a big commitment. You could just do an hour or two a week.
My worry is, I think if you put more volunteers into running Batley Library, you're going to take somebody else's job away.
that won't affect that because they've made the job cuts now. So they've had to make the job cuts, sadly. So now the volunteers won't be taking anybody's job because the cuts have already been made.
Hasn't the library cuts or the decision, hasn't it gone to a scrutiny panel now?
Yes, it has.
Yeah. Are we likely to? I mean, the key area for Batley, of course, because Dewsbury, our key listeners, but your ward is in Batley West.
Yeah.
Will see their Batley Library as being under threat. Is it still under threat?
I wouldn't really say it's under threat, no.
Right. Now, there's two parts to it because the consultation that took place was about the service and not the building.
Yes.
And what a lot of people
That's
haven't
the
managed
key
to do,
thing.
is not actually split the two. And they've thought, right, the library's saved. That means that clock tower and the books inside it are going to stay. That's not the case, is it?
That's not the case. Like, I am quite confident that we will have a library service in Batley, but I don't know whether it will be in the building or whether it'll be in the town hall.
One of the things that disappointed me, I think, when I was at the meeting was I didn't see one councillor at that meeting, and I was very disappointed.
Was I not there at that meeting? I think
this is last week's meeting. Was it?
Oh, okay.
I think
I didn't see one councillor there, unfortunately, and that's a sad reflection of the commitment from our councillors. Not pointing any fingers at anybody, because I'm sure people have got their own individual commitments and difficulties. But, out of all the councillors, they would have expected one or two, at least, because it's quite a big issue for Batley, isn't it?
Yeah.
That building is, really a magnificent building in the first place. And I have some really fond memories of Batley Library. I spent quite a lot of time there doing my essays when I was doing A-levels. And so did many other people as well. And it's worth, I think, putting that effort into it to save it.
Yeah.
But we need that support and commitment from our elected members.
I think it's difficult for councillors if you are an actual member of the Friends group, because then you can get a conflict of interest, which means that then you can't vote on that issue at council meetings. So I think that might have been a consideration as well.
I think there is one councillor who's actually on the Friends of group, but wasn't present.
Yeah, that's why I didn't join the group officially, because I was worried about the conflict.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable, not joining the group, but turning up at meetings to see what's going on and how people feel.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
Yeah, I take your point.
Yeah, I mean, as we were mentioning about the difference between the service and the building. Now, at the moment, the council runs two buildings in the Market Square. So you've got the library building and you've got the town hall.
Yeah.
Now, the folk of Batley obviously love both buildings. They both have a lot of history behind them, and we do really honestly love both of them. But I think I can't remember where it came up, where it was reported, but are the council planning to only have one council-run building in the town centre?
I don't think that they're planning it. I think it's a consideration.
Right.
But the both buildings do cost a lot of money to run, so obviously it's definitely a consideration. But I can't say whether or not it's happening at the minute.
Right. Okay. So is it? I mean, are we going to go through a separate consultation process?
I'm sure if it's a big if any of those, if that did happen. But if it did happen, obviously it would have to be a huge consultation. The council wouldn't make sweeping changes regarding iconic buildings without really taking into account people's feelings.
All right. Okay. You are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Centre in Batley, West Yorkshire. Now, you can give us a call, send us a text or WhatsApp to 07460809218, or call the studio hotline. To be honest with you, nobody phones in these days. I don't think anybody talks anymore. I think everyone just taps away at phones. It's good to talk. If you want to give us a call, 01924 505 629. Now then, Marielle, I have got a question here. I'll very quickly read. Okay. How is Marielle as a councillor going to support more Asian women into becoming councillors if the recruitment process is tough in gaining a position on the panel?
Okay, I think I know what that's referring to. It's referring to an internal Labour Party matter, so I can't really comment on the particular process in specifics, but
do you think? Let's ask a different question altogether.
Yeah.
Do you think there's enough representation of the South Asian women in the council?
No, I don't think there is at all. I don't even think there's enough representation of women on the council. But definitely. Well, number one, it's putting yourself forward, because there's a lot of women, Asian women, who are just absolutely wonderful and would be great counsellors, but we need to encourage them and mentor them to get involved in Labour Party politics, and also to stand for elections. And we need to make sure that the selection processes are fair and transparent, first of all. And I will say that there is a definite desire in the Labour Party in Cllr to get more Asian women councillors.
Right. Okay. Now then, coming back to, sorry, I had a question on my mind and it's just completely gone blank. It happens. Are you by
anything? All right. Just to go back onto the fair representation on the council. I think currently there are about 40% of women as elected representatives in the council, compared to around about nearly 60% of men. Yeah. And out of that, we've got about 18% of councillors who are from the BME communities. What are the ways we can actually encourage more candidates from the BME communities? And I'm quite sort of pleased to say that I think all of the BME representatives at this moment in time are in the Labour Party.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not in the Conservative, Lib Dems or Greens at the moment. They have been in the past in the Conservative Party, but obviously there is an internal matter that's going on, and also I think there's a feeling that with this all-women shortlist that Labour, some areas of Labour Party have brought in, it's actually doing a disservice to say Asian men, for instance, who have been members of the Labour Party for a long time and wanting to actually sort of get in. Not only that, the other side of it is, it might deter young people or young men from joining the Labour Party, because they might see that as a dead end, really. They're not going to get anywhere. So, I mean, how do you personally feel about that, and what are the ways around that?
Well, it's a catch-22 with the all-women shortlist, because obviously they were designed to ensure that we get more women selected. So it was good intentions, but then obviously on the ground it can cause upset if they are strong male candidates who feel like they're being pushed out. I think basically we just need to encourage everybody to go for it. Just go for it. And if first of all, you need to get on the panel, so you need to put yourself forward for the selection process, and you go through an interview by a panel of people who are set up by the local Labour Party, and basically roll with the punches. You need to just keep on going until you get there.
And this is it.
I feel like sometimes people might be put off by not feeling confident about, or they won't get it, but you need to just go through it. If you don't get on, you keep at it until you get on. Because I know I was lucky to get on relatively young, but I know some people, has really been involved in politics a long time before getting on. I know Shabir was involved a long time. Because obviously Batley West, we had Liberal Democrat councillors at some point.
That's right, yeah.
So it is a long haul thing. So you kind of have to put your pride aside a bit and keep on going until you get there. I think if you show some determination, it can be character building. And
I mean, one of the things that the council is considering is reducing the number of councillors. Now, first of all, what's your opinion regarding that? And secondly, could that actually, because what we're looking at the moment is kind of like a bit of a balance, a close balance between the number of men and women in council. Could that upset the apple cart?
Well, first of all, you'd have to change the role of councillors. If you're having less councillors, then obviously it would mean that the councillors we did have were doing even more work. So you'd have to, it would essentially be a full-time job. So you'd have to, I don't know, do the allowance to reflect that, possibly. I think it's a catch-22, because I think if that happened, I'm sure like the Labour Party probably would try and make sure that there was a certain percentage that were women. So I think it probably wouldn't upset the apple cart.
Right. Okay. So it would still have the balance. But do you think if there was a reduction of one councillor per ward, do you think the ward would still be represented correctly? Do you think the work of the councillor would be done?
No, because it is a lot of work.
Right.
And you need a group of people as well, because it'd be difficult for one person to represent the whole ward. We're lucky in Batley West that we've got 2 women, me and Gwen Lowe, and we've got a man, Shabir Panda. So we've got a good mix of age and background. So that kind of reflects the community quite well.
As a councillor, what's your typical week like, Marielle?
There is no typical week. Some weeks it's literally like a full-time job. Other weeks it's like a part-time job. So it really varies how many meetings you have, but and also you don't have the weekends, because you'll have events at the weekend, the community events we go to. Then you have committee meetings during the week, but the meetings are not on a set day or a set time, so it's quite hard to plan your diary around it. At the minute, I'm just a full-time councillor, because I used to work for the council, working with elderly people, but I had to quit my job to stand as a councillor. So at the minute, I'm quite flexible, but I think people who work would actually struggle, because there's no set routine. And people obviously can call you or contact you at any time of day.
And is there a big commitment in terms of attending meetings?
Yes.
Because from what I know, and what I've been said, I think, I might be wrong here, but say, all you have to do for a councillor is attend 1 meeting in 6 months.
I think that's the bare minimum, though. If you did that, you'd be in trouble with your party. I don't think you get very far either, because, for example, I'm on quite a few committees. So you've got meetings that you have to. If you're on a committee, then you need to go to that meeting, because say I'm on the Heavy Wool and Planning committee. So say if I don't go there, I've got to go there, because I've got to vote on actual issues that affect people there. Yeah. So, and it's the same with the other committees. It is really important that you go to them, because you're actually voting on issues there.
Yeah. What are the committees you're on, Marielle?
I'm on the policy committee, which I'm really interested in, because I'm chairing a subcommittee on equality and diversity, because we're looking at updating the council's policy framework and how we deal with equality and diversity, because it's quite 1980s at the minute. So we wanted to make it more modern. I'm on that. I'm on the licensing committee. I'm on the Heavy Wool and Planning committee as well.
So what are the
and a district committee, yes.
Which committees are more challenging? More
challenging. I think the difficult ones are the planning and on the licensing. They're difficult, because you're dealing with individual cases. So for the planning, say a company's wanting planning permission to do a building somewhere or extend a building, we need to look at all the issues in front of us, but we've really got to put aside personal feelings in that and just look at, because at planning you've only got a few grounds that are actually planning grounds that you can refuse somebody on. So sometimes you might be thinking that, I know I've had a couple where you're kind of thinking that you kind of feel like you want to refuse them, but if you haven't got a good enough reason to refuse them, then you kind of got to let them proceed.
Right. Okay. I can actually tell you, we have a modest counsellor in the room, because she has actually attended. Marielle has actually attended 100% of the meetings. You're on 100% at the moment.
Yeah, I need to keep it going.
We'll have to
wait till next time. Yeah, 2 years time.
That's the advantage of being a full-time counsellor, isn't it?
It's been a while since you said this, but you can send your texts or WhatsApps to 07460809218, or you can give us a call 01924505629. Remember, we're finishing in about 20 minutes time, so 10 o'clock's the time, so please do if you want to ask a question, get it in quick. Right now then, you mentioned a little earlier on the type of or what your the people in your ward are actually bringing to you, and one of the things you mentioned was the worry they have with tax credits. Now, tax credits is something that's been dealt with in Parliament. What can a councillor, I'm actually very interested in this question, what can a councillor actually first of all do regarding it? And well, let's start with that, and then we'll go from there, I think.
Well, obviously, as a councillor, I can't change government policy, but what I can do is I'm kind of like a facilitator. So probably my main role is actually as a facilitator. So people will ring me up and they'll ask me to contact the council department or the government departments for them, or help them fill out forms. So it's that it's that interface in between different departments, really. So I could give people advice on how they could go about with their case. So it's more just offering guidance. It's kind of like if you went to the Citizens Advice Bureau, that kind of help I could give.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that a lot of people always turn around, and this whole issue of going from 3 councillors down to 2 in a ward, and every councillor I come across always tells me we've got lots to do, and very late night phone calls as well, and I always wonder why you put your mobile number on the website, but never mind. But very late calls. Tell us a little bit about the type of work that a councillor can do. I mean, I know Ayuba asked you about the normal week, but what sort of work can you take on behalf of your constituents?
Like I said, the main role is really a facilitator, because a lot of people, they don't feel confident in either writing letters to official departments or to the council, or they need help filling out applications. So I've got that side of it, just the general giving advice to people. Or I have the actual traditional council matters of going into a council meeting and voting on issues. So it's a mix. It's really a mixture of casework and then attending council meetings, really, and attending community events, and also supporting community groups.
Right. Okay. And have you had lots and lots? I mean, this is always my curiosity. Do councillors really get a lot of people after contacting them with issues?
Yes, we do.
In the same way, you've been a councillor for 6 months roughly. How many? On a rough guess.
I don't know, like 100 or something like that.
It's brilliant when I put that question to people.
It's difficult because it could be a big issue, or it could just be a really small issue. Like people say, "Oh, what council department do I contact to report noisy neighbours or something?" So it could be something that's a more simple issue, or it could be a more complex issue. So not all of the the issues I deal with are going to be really important or really time consuming.
Okay, diverse now. Your Batley West, certainly more so than Batley East, is a very, very diverse community. And it's in the past had its troubles, not to say it doesn't have its troubles even today. How do you manage or what's been done to actually bring people together? Because there are a lot of different groups in your ward. What's happening to actually bring people together?
The council over many years has really done a lot of work on community cohesion and organising interfaith events and going into schools, and also the community cohesion team do a lot of work with Asian women, which is really good because, as you were saying before, they are an underrepresented group. But basically, I think in Batley, we're all from Batley, and for the most part, we all get along really well.
Right. So it's your view on Batley West as itself is that people are actually getting along.
Yes, mostly.
Right. Okay. I stay in Batley East more. You see, that's the reason why. Although I think I'm not sure if this is in Batley West or Batley East.
It might be East, I think.
East, isn't it? Yeah. We just
this East Berlin.
We have got a big wall out there. Right. Okay. We're going to go into a break. We'll be back with you very, very shortly. Remember, if you do want to ask a question, the number is for your text and WhatsApp 07460809218. We'll be back with you right after this.
Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS. Hire the Al Hikmah Center for your weddings, functions, and events with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location, and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Center, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. Radio IMWS.
Welcome back to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live. This is the politics program, and we've got 15 minutes of the program left. So if you do want to send in a text or WhatsApp, the number is 07460809218. And if you prefer the old-fashioned vocal message, then it is 01924 505 629 for our studio hotline. We do have Councillor Marielle O'Neill in the studio with us. Marielle, I mean, we were talking. You mentioned earlier about the £69 million worth of cuts that Cllr's council has to make. There's a lot of savings that they have to do. There's a lot of areas where they're cutting. What are the key areas that you feel need protecting in Batley? We've talked about the library already, but other than the library, what are the key services that you feel need protecting in Batley?
Well, the services in Batley are the same as what Cllr's Labour believes should be in the whole of Cllr's, which is basically care for elderly people and care for looked after children, which is children in care. So those are really the two areas that we need to completely save. But again, going back to the community cohesion, I would still like to see money going towards community events, because I think even just having a couple of events a year in Batley, Batley Town Centre can do a lot to raise morale in Batley. I'd still like to see money spent on Wilton Park, because that's a premier attraction in Batley. So I'd like to see money spent more targeted. So obviously we've got less money. We need to put money in maybe on either bigger projects where it'll have more of an impact, such as a park, or one-off events, but you know, significant events, rather than having loads of like little events. Just have one huge event.
I mean, what difference can friends of groups make? Because I appreciate the side where, for example, in the library, the friends of group there won't be taking anyone else's job, so that's not an area. So what can friends of groups actually achieve?
They can achieve a lot, especially now that we're having these cuts, so the council will be doing less. Basically, they're volunteering. So say Friends of Wilton Park, for example, they do a lot of litter picking and just making sure the park's clean and tidy, and that may have contributed to the park getting a green flag recently. Also, a major advantage that the Friends groups have is advocacy. If there's a big Friends group or a very active Friends group for a certain organisation, you know, they're going to be at the council really strongly, putting their case forward really loudly to us. So we'll probably, you know, listen to what they say. So it's basically doing the groundwork, but also really like advocating.
Right. Do you think towns like Batley loses out a little bit because we're a very small part of a very big council? And do you think there's any mileage in sort of going back to what used to be the boroughs and having Batley working on its own?
I know that people tend to think that, but I think it is. I don't think it's actually true. I know it can seem that Huddersfield is getting all the attention, but I don't think that is actually the case. And I don't think we should go back to the old style Batley Town Council, because I think nowadays issues are much more interconnected, and it's much better to do things that are more the macro level, because there's no point making one decision in Batley and a different one in Huddersfield when it's the same kind of area, because it could just be a higgledy-piggledy. And I think in that way you could have people losing out more, because you could have a town that's wealthier than Batley, like Merfield, and they could get more money.
But hasn't the council in recent years kind of like drawn a north-south line by referring to this area in particular as North Cllr, whereas South Cllr has mostly been referred to as Huddersfield. So isn't there a kind of like a north-south line that's been drawn by the council, because there is no such entity as North Cllr?
Well, it's true in an extent, because we are an artificial council. We're not like Leeds or Bradford or Wakefield, where it's an actual geographical kind of centre point. We are kind of an artificial council, but even though we've got these different names, North and South Cllr, we've all got the same services. We've all got the same money that's spent on us. So I don't think there really is a divide. And also a lot of all the services are run throughout Cllr, so it's not much of the divide, really.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that happened, of course, before you were elected, actually, if I remember rightly, was the change from the area committees to the district committees.
Yeah.
How do you find the district committees? Do they work? Do they get people there?
We do get people there. Again, the thing with democracy is that decisions are made by people who turn up. So you need to get down at these area committees, and you need to be applying for grants at the area committees, because the area committees has a certain amount of money that they can give a few £100 or whatever to certain groups. So you really need to apply as groups for funding. We are working really well, because again we kind of work in subgroups on different areas. So both physical areas like Batley, so all the Batley councillors will kind of decide between ourselves how we want to spend the Batley money beforehand, and the other councillors do the same. But then we come together at the planning meeting and look at the decisions as a whole. And also we've now got subgroups of the district committees, and I'm on the economic resilience one. So we're looking at ways where we can spend some of the district committee money in strategic ways in our area, so that we can make the most difference. But they actually, I think in a way they've been working better, because you can see it's much more strategic if we can see where we're spending the money, because otherwise we could be spending money on something in Batley and they could be spending money in Liversedge on something, and it could be kind of like not a good use of money.
Right. So there are grants available there. So the
you need to get in there.
I believe the next district committee meeting is at the Healy Community Centre on the 2nd of December. Have a look on the Cllr's website. You'll find full details there. I did get a question in which I a bit earlier, but I've left it till now. What do you think of Jo Cox, and what did you think of her, or what do you think of her stance on Syria?
Okay. Well, first of all, I really admire Jo. I supported her from day one, and it's really refreshing to have a woman MP, a young woman, and she's so energetic, and it's nice that she's really, going in there and being the voice for Batley in Parliament. That's really good to see her in Parliament, and I know she does a lot of casework as well. I tend to disagree with her on Syria. I admire her for taking a stand on something that she believes in, but I wouldn't be for military intervention there. I think it's just a complete mess over there, and I don't think Britain should get involved, and I don't think getting involved militarily will do us any good.
Right.
What do you think might be the solution then for Syria?
I don't think there's any easy solution. I really wouldn't want to say.
Fair enough, yeah.
Fair enough. No,
Better minds than me have destroyed the Middle East. So
Absolutely, yes.
I think we need to step back.
I think that's a very accurate assumption. The deduction that. But yeah, no, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things, obviously, we're getting soon here are some Syrian families, I believe.
Yeah.
2 families will be arriving in Cllr. Now, how's this going to work? Because one of the concerns, you have a lot of people in Cllr who are, of course, big-hearted and wonderful people. You have some who are going to try and pray, try and pick on whatever they can. How is this going to work? How are these families going to be funded when Cllr is going through so much cuts?
Yeah. Well, the government is funding us for 2 years for the refugees. After that, we'll have to see if the government will fund us or if it'll be through Cllr's funding. But I think most people just saw how horrific it was and how people were literally fleeing from a war zone. So I think most people would welcome them. But obviously it is a difficult time financially in Cllr now.
And these will be families from the camps that are just outside Syria, the Turkey, this is the Lebanon and
There is some government funding that would go with it.
Yeah, it is, but it's only for 2 years, so it just depends will they extend that or not. But obviously we've got this commitment there, so they're coming, so we'd have to provide for them some way or another.
Now, you mentioned earlier, and if listeners who have just tuned in, you are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Center, and you will be able to watch this on YouTube in about half an hour again. Yes. It is live at the moment, but it does upload. It takes about half an hour after the show. So if you've missed it already, then you can stay up, have a late night. We were talking earlier about young people and politics. Now, yourself, you're only 27. You're a councillor. Noshin Dad over in Dewsbury is a councillor. Joe Cox. There's a couple of similarities in this. I think Joe's a bit older, but not that old, nevertheless. Young women are seem to be getting involved in politics more than young men. Why?
I don't know if maybe it's because of the all women shortlist.
It could be. Are you?
Well,
you want to comment on that?
All the young men might end up with the Conservatives if you're not careful.
We saw one thing there though during the elections, particularly on social media, and that's a platform where a lot of young people were engaged in politics, whether they voted or not. And one of there was 2 things that came out from there. One, there seemed to be a lot of people leaning towards the Greens, and the Greens were giving more of an impression of a Jeremy Corbyn Labour. Do you think if Jeremy Corbyn is the leader at the next general election, Labour stand a chance?
I would hope so. I think it's going to be difficult though, whoever was the leader, because I think we lost so many seats that I know that a party hasn't gone on to win an election with so few seats since like World War II, after World War II. So it will be difficult, but I think the way that he's energizing people, and we've had in Batley in Spain, we've had like so many more members, like 50 new members or something, since he took over. So that's really good to see. So if we could win back some disenfranchised Labour voters and also get some more new people coming to Labour, then it could happen. And again, a week is a long time in politics, so 4 years is a long time. So we know you never know what events could happen.
Is he going to run out of steam sooner or later, and is the story going to fade?
Well, the thing with Jeremy Corbyn is what you see is what you get. So I think really the only way is up now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you say so. So Jeremy Corbyn all the way.
Yes, that's just the point.
Well, I must admit, he's to be honest with you, I think the public have a genuine option. I think the fact that Cameron and Corbyn are so far apart makes politics interesting.
I think it's nice to see, because before we've always had they're all the same, and it's kind of hard to kind of defend that, because you're like, well, we're slightly more to the left.
Yeah. Do you think that was one of the reasons why? I mean, I know there was not a massive when it came down to the voting side of things, there wasn't a massive swing in votes for the Greens, but you could tell that the word on people's lips, even locally, was a case of I'd vote for the Greens, but they'll never get in. Now, if everybody who said that actually voted for the Greens,
they won't get in.
we'd have a Green government by now. But do you think it was the fact that you couldn't really tell the difference between Miliband, Cameron, and Clegg? That's why Labour lost so many seats.
I think the reason that we lost was basically we didn't have a clear enough narrative.
Yeah.
The Conservatives basically said, "Oh, we've maxed out the credit." We've maxed out our credit card. We need to do the cuts, and Labour totally basically just went along with what they said. They didn't really, they just said, oh, we'd make the cuts, but we wouldn't make them as harsh. We didn't really say, no, actually, we're not going to do these cuts because the credit card analogy is a load of rubbish, because actually this country has been in debt ever since World War II. So national debt is actually nothing like personal debt, but it's harder to make that into a narrative. It's harder to make that into a selling point that people can understand. But equally, Labour were really wishy-washy. I think politically we didn't really, as you said, we didn't articulate the differences between Labour and the Conservatives. And I think we were also a bit pussyfooting around. We weren't really confident enough to really make a stance. And I think Miliband wasn't really confident enough to really make enough of a stance on what he believed in.
On a local scale, of course, there's a lot of Labour support locally, of course. But the thing is, the council isn't there's not Labour majority in the council, is there? If I remember rightly,
it's a minority. It's a minority Labour council.
So what can Labour do locally to encourage more people to vote for them?
Locally, well, again, we're kind of split up in wards, really, because we've got certain wards like Batley East and Batley West, and where we've got strong Labour footholds, but then we've got other areas where they're not so politically enshrined, the different parties. So we really need to go into these areas, but it's not something that you can do overnight, because like I was saying before, Batley West was always Labour, but then the Lib Dems came in when Tony Blair was in power, because people were kind of upset with the stuff that he was doing, but they did a lot of groundwork and they got in. And then Shabir, my dad, and Gwen did a lot of hard work and got back in. So we really need to look at these target areas and put in groundwork, community activism and advocacy, and a lot of canvassing. But it's not something you can do overnight. It really does take years to even get a council seat.
Okay. Ava?
Yeah, last question for me, really. When you're not doing your council work, what do you get up to, Marielle?
What do I like to do? I love the theatre. I love politics. I love going to concerts. I like going to concerts and theatre.
Okay, thank you.
So concerts, theatre, and politics.
Politics.
Future MP?
Well, again, if there's one thing that I've learned about politics, it's being in the right place at the right time.
All right.
So if I was in the right place at the right time, who knows what could happen?
Right, that's it. Okay, right. Well, we wish you the best of luck and congratulations on your first 6 months of surviving as a councillor. It's a difficult time, is that in itself, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And we do look forward to you coming in again and giving us an update.
See if I've still got 100% attendance.
See if you've still got 100%. That's what we're going to measure you by.
Next week, we've got Paula Sharif with us. Mohammed. Yep.
We're going from local to national politics. Paula Sharif, who, of course, won the Dewsbury seat at the day before officially, because there was a counting, but the same day as the vote, as both local and national elections. She has. She's done quite a fair bit.
And we look forward to sort of having her in the studio next week.
I think we do. And for our listeners out there, remember, you will be able to contact us and ask questions. Do spread the word. Next week, 9 p.m. on Wednesday, the politics program with special guest, Paula Sharif MP.
Brilliant.
That's it from me. Marielle, thank you very much for joining us in the studio. And that's it from us. The next show will be on Saturday when Sister Safia will be here. And I believe she's going to do her usual show there this week. She's guestless, but by choice, because I think people are missing the old program that she's been running as well. So we're gonna make sure she does that program instead. That's it from me. Remember all the announcements you heard earlier at the starting of the program. You can find them on our website at www.imws.org.uk, or you can find it on our Facebook pages. Until the next time, from everyone in the studio, good evening and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه